Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me directly. My email address is tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we are discussing the Bethune DBS. Originally launched in 2005, it was a model conceived to be part of an auction catalog and then moved into regular, albeit limited production as part of Bethune's conventional collection. And the watch here in white gold is easy to wear, inspired by a combination of desk clocks, pendant watches, and pocket watches. It's a vintage style without specifically referencing any one timepiece or genre. So 42.6 millimeters from side to side. It is 11.3 millimeters thick and 51 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. You throw it on the wrist. My wrist is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it wears well. The pivot centers of the lugs are quite far inboard, so 51 millimeters is from one side to the tip of the crown. The watch actually wears quite a bit shorter than that across the wrist and flat enough that it will easily slide underneath the cuff. I can recommend this watch for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. The lug junction's a little bit unconventional. On one side, the strap is held in place using screws and backing plate, and then on the other side, you have a conventional set of lugs, albeit broadly spaced. You can see the cabochon or ogival tips that are a recurring theme from the very earliest Bethune watches through the current collection. And then we have a little white gold pin buckle to match the watch. Now, Bethune makes its own cases, dials, and movements, so everything from the case to the dial to the movement is made in-house. The timepiece you see right here features a hidden case-back power reserve indicator, and the manual wind power reserve is 6 days. Turning it back over, you can see the crown, which has a combination of drillings and knurlings. It is a screw-down crown for absolute security against accidental displacement. And then in profile, we have a little pusher adjuster for the spherical Moonphase, which is patented. It is not just spherical, but one half is blued steel, one half is white palladium, and once you set it, you can basically forget it, as the adjustment interval is over 1,112 years. Now, the dial features a media-blasted matte hour track with little fired blue cabochon of titanium. Bethune has a proprietary process for firing and bluing titanium. If you think of oxidized titanium, you know that it's white. So the process to create this blue is a trade secret, and it is Bethune's own. There are Côte de Genève on the dial side, and they're laid down conventionally with abrasive wheel. They're not the cheap stamped Côte de Genève. These are Côte de Bethune, which means they're actually mirrored from one side to the other. You can see how the gradient, the dark gradient, is on the outside of each stripe on this side, but it's also on the outside of each stripe on this side. Again, the bridge is split down the center and the wheel is reversed to create that mirrored effect. Now, it is very traditionally finished. You can see that the anglage is executed manually and a mile wide. You have those stripes. You have black polish on the cap atop the barrel bridge and black polish atop the balance bridge. Note the earliest version of Bethune's triple parachute shock protection. So we have 1, 2, 3 shock protection springs. The reason is that first, it increases the durability against shock and protects against breakage, but by more rapidly recentering the balance staff and its pivot, you more rapidly return the watch to accurate timekeeping. Now, you can also see that the balance, one of at least 10 patented in-house, is different from a conventional wheel. It's non-annular. So what we have here is a combination of a fired blue titanium wheel, or yoke in this case, and then platinum masses outboard to try to put as much mass as possible in the rim for the best timekeeping properties. You can also see that the watch includes a hairspring with a dog leg kink. It's actually 2 hairsprings that are shaped manually and then clamped together to create the flatness and shock resistance of a flat hairspring, but also the concentric breathing properties of an overcoil. We have 2 barrels. They are self-adjusting, which just means that they're impossible to accidentally overwind, which is nice to know. You can see that they feature solarization on their surfacing, which is a nice way of finishing them. And again, a 6-day power reserve, and no tricks are played to achieve that power reserve. The watch has a high beat rate, or a conventional 8 beat per second rate, so they haven't slowed down the balance to achieve that long power reserve. You'll notice that the hands are both blued and black polished, and we have quite a bit of detail, including black polished screw heads with chamfered slots in circumference. And you can see inboard of the hour track, we have individual drillings on an engine-turned minute track. This watch is simply full of lovely lovely details. 30 meters water resistant, but not one to take swimming. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.